أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أيود أحدكم أن تكون له جنة من نخيل وأعناب تجري من تحتها الأنهار له فيها من كل الثمرات وأصابه الكبر وله ذرية ضعفاء فأصابها إعصار فيه نار فاحترقت كذلك يبين الله لكم الآيات لعلكم تتفكرون صدق الله العظيم. We continue with verse number 266 of Surah Al-Baqarah, continuing with the theme and the topic of infaq, and that is to spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the last verse 265, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the good intentions and the good reasons why we should be spending in the path of Allah. One is ibtigha'a mardatillah, and the second is tathbitan min anfusihim, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and fortifying our own hearts. Then of course Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant us an abundance insofar as reward is concerned. Here in this verse Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked the question, Ayawaddu ahadukum an takuna lahu jannah, that does any one of you desire that he has an orchard, he has a garden, min nakhilin wa a'nab, of date palms and that of grapevines, tajri min tahtiha al-anhar, under which rivers flow. In other words, on the one hand, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed this person the garden. On the other hand, whatever it takes and makes for that garden to be lush and the crops to be fertile and all of that, water is an essential part of it. And here the waters are flowing in that garden. Lahu fiha min kulli thamarat. Besides the fact that there is nakhil, there are date palms and there are grapevines, together with that, lahu fiha min kulli thamarat. In that garden, this person has every kind of fruit, every kind of produce. In other words, you name it and the person has it. وَأَصَابَهُ الْكِبَرُ. Now, that is so far as the youth of that person was concerned. وَأَصَابَهُ الْكِبَرُ. Now the man progresses insofar as his age is concerned, and old age grips him. وَلَهُ ذُرِّيَّةٌ ضُعَفَاءٌ. And the person has weak children. In other words, weak here could be weak by age, it could be weak insofar as the physical strength is concerned. So the children are incapable, they are incapacitated, they do not have the capacity of irrigating the land, of agriculture, of sowing the seed and harvesting. In other words, they are unable to do anything insofar as the well-being of such a garden is concerned. Thereafter Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَأَصَابَهَا إِعْصَارٌ فِيهِ نَارٌ فَاحْتَرَقَتْ. Then i'asar, a whirlwind, grips this farm, the orchard of that person, and in this whirlwind is a fire that now devours, and that fire burns out the entire orchard of this individual. Such is the example that Allah Ta'ala has given us, something for us to think about, that here is a person that he had strove in his life, he had gone all out to make sure that that garden gives him his fruit, his harvest, his produce. And then when old age comes, and generally when a person is in old age, one himself becomes partially or totally incapacitated. He himself does not have the ability to re-sow those seeds in the ground and then to continue the other aspects of the agriculture. And of course at that time a person will be banking on his children. He will be hoping that they would be able to do something. They are unable to do, either because of old age or other forms of incapacitation. So what happens to this individual? Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the example, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls us to think about our own actions and our own deeds. Ulama have expressed that what happens to a person when he had in his life, he had given out his sadaqah, he has given out his charities, and after doing all of that, he had nullified it because he had publicized his generosity, he had hurt the feelings of the recipient, he had spoken about it and all of it. So he had done his job, he had sown the seed, he had looked after the plant, but then when he comes to the courts of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like this old person, there is absolutely no hope for him to go forward insofar as his orchard is concerned. Unfortunately, such will be the position of that individual. There was many crops, it has given many types of fruits, the person spent in the path of Allah, there were many avenues that would have been opened insofar as the rewards and the fruits of his spending was concerned. But of course, insan had squandered that, and the result is that there is nothing left for him tomorrow in the courts of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the time of Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu had the Sahaba and others around him, and he asked them with regards to this ayah, أَيَوَدُّ أَحَدُكُمْ أَن تَكُونَ لَهُ جَنَّةٌ. What are your thoughts with regards to this verse? So Sahaba radiyallahu ta'ala anhum, some of them said, Allah knows best. So that angered and annoyed Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, that either you know the answer or you don't know the answer. Amongst the Sahaba that was sitting, one Sahabi, Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he was also in this congregation, in this gathering, and he said to Amirul Mu'mineen, Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, that the probability exists that I can explain this ayah. So hence Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu asked him to go on explaining. And he said that in youth, a wealthy person is given the tawfiq by Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala to do good deeds. Now here the good deeds is not necessarily that of spending, but spending is the primary part of it, and then other good deeds. And then shaitan approaches that person, the whisper of shaitan, and then that person nullifies his deeds. In other words, he does wrong. Now the wrongs that he would do again is publicizing the good that he had done. By speaking about the good that he had done, a person totally destroys all of that, and of course then by Allah, or in the end of his life, he has absolutely nothing to produce and to present. So hence here, a very, very great warning, not only insofar as our spending is concerned, but insofar as all our deeds are concerned may be included. كَذَلِكَ يُبَيِّنُ اللَّهُ لَكُمُ الْآيَاتِ. This is the example, or such is the example that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has explained for you insofar as the signs are concerned. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَفَكَّرُونَ. So that you may make tafakkur, you may reflect on this here. And of course, only that person reflects that has an understanding. And hence here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has signaled a very, very great warning by way of this parable and by way of this example. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala safeguard us. We continue doing good. Allah give us the tawfiq, and Allah give us the tawfiq to safeguard our amal. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.